So, we're in the tiny apartment, and I want to talk to you about a project I've been working on for about 8 years. I did shelve it for the last couple of years, but it's recently come up that I probably should put my focus on it again. But before I talk too much about the book, you're probably going to hear a humming in the background. It's my refrigerator. Because I'm in the tiny apartment, I've only got 2 rooms that I can actually film in, and one of them is my kitchen, where the table happens to be, with all my book materials and drawing materials in it. So excuse the humming, it's keeping my peas cold, my peas and my almond milk. Now, as for the book, about 8 years ago I was desperately heartbroken, desperately heartbroken, and wanting to feel like I was part of something, part of some type of community, which I kind of felt at times in my life, but not consistently. I've just never felt like I belonged. So as a child, of course, like most children, I built community out of teddy bears and dolls or whatever was around. When I was 3, I think I made a baby doll out of a squash. I have no idea why, but we've got pictures of me tucking it into bed. This little yellow squash. Well, I was heartbroken, and I wanted to feel some sense of some connection somewhere. So I started developing these books. There are 6 characters, and so far I have 7 books outlined. And in each book, we examine how the characters became the characters that they are. I have several characters that are very loving characters, and we show that they were brought up in loving homes. We have one character that's extremely angry and volatile. So I show how he became that way, that it's not just out of the blue. Now, I've shown this book, different versions of this book, in different shows that I've been in, book shows and my own shows. I've given out several copies. I've sold copies as well, but I sent them out to sent copies of the book that I printed, and I've printed it 4 or 5 times on my own by hand. Printed this thing out, sent it out to all kinds of publishers. I've gotten emails and phone calls, people calling to say, I love your book so much, but we don't do children's books anymore. So I got discouraged, and I shelved it. And now I really want to revisit it. And I'm glad I've decided to revisit it now. One of the characters is a little boy. The other ones are, of course, woodland creatures, because that's what we do. Every story has to have some sort of a woodland creature or you know, some endangered species in it. But it's easy to convey that way. You're not trying to fill a stereotype or trying to fill a character type with a child, and then having that type of child with the glasses or the certain color skin, you know, be tagged with these certain characteristics. So I like the woodland creature. But one of the characters is a little boy, as I said, but he's a little white boy. And he's a little white boy who was fashioned after my own son. And it was fine when I lived on Cape Cod, because in that environment, a little white child is appropriate. You know, predominantly white population. Obviously, I'm white. I was from one of the whitest families you can possibly meet. But since I left Cape Cod, it's become more and more evident to me that that's inappropriate for most of the world. Where I'm living now, or where I've lived over the past, I don't know, 6 years, I've lived in neighborhoods where I'm not only the only white person, but the only person who speaks English. And I'm so much more comfortable in the situation where I'm the anomaly. I'm kind of found the community I always wanted by being the odd one out, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so this one little boy, his name is James, is white, and I feel more and more compelled to change him, especially when I've been showing the book, not just to school administrators and teachers and therapists, and I've been showing it around to all these people, asking your opinion, asking, what do you think? What can I do to improve on this? And I've been doing this for 8 years now. What can I do to improve on this? And I really haven't gotten any criticisms, more support than criticisms. However, when I turn around and I ask a child who isn't white, how does this feel to you? They love the book, but you can see there's a slight disconnect. There's a slight slap. Why am I not in this book? So I'm going to change the character James from a little white boy who is well loved to, where is he? There's different, a little white boy who's being taught a lesson and in the end is happy, which we see in most books. And at this point in my life, in the different places I live, I find it kind of insulting. Why are only little white children, why are most books show white children? I'm sure coming from me, that sounds very odd. So I'm trying to redevelop the face so we capture more of a broader spectrum. He has browner skin. And I'm so glad I've had the time to rethink this. I'm actually very glad nobody hopped on this book the first time they saw it. I'm glad no publisher said, we're going to go with this. Because now I can rethink my character, James, and reflect other children more. But it's going to take some work. So far, we're not doing a terrific job at this. We're okay. These are okay. But I want better than okay. I want it to feel right. So, while I'm redoing the book, and along with this video, I've set up a Facebook page, and where I'm going to show the progress of the drawings, and I'm going to work on this every day. I've been working on it at night for an hour to 3 hours a night, trying to do and redo the faces, and so it's going to be on Facebook now. And when I have more images up than I have now, I'll set up a link with this YouTube video, so if you feel like following along, you can. The images will be copyrighted, but I'm going to welcome anyone who wants to download them, print them out, give them to their kids, let the kids color them, let the kids not color them, let the kids cut out, let your kids, cut the faces or the figures out and set up towns and play with them. I want to make this open to people as they follow me in the book, and I'd like to know what you think, and hopefully we'll get it to another publisher. We'll try again, and we'll keep trying, because I want these books out there. I want to give people, I want to introduce some of my favorite people to Cape Cod, some of the more complicated and interesting people I've known on Cape Cod. I want to introduce them to the world and have the world fall in love with them, with my characters, the way I fell in love with these people. Guess that's it. Time to walk Bugsy and then come home and get back to work. Ciao.